I tell you, we're excited to get out there, start practicing, get to do football. I'll probably start being able to answer some questions that y'all have that I know everybody wants answers to. And once we get out there on the field and get going. So for me, I'm excited to get out there, start doing some football and coaching some ball and cut down on some of my maybe administrative work that I've been doing an awful lot of, and to get out there, have some fun, go play. And I want to see our players' reaction. That's a big part to me, and hopefully they're excited to get out there and go start playing. And, we put in all this work, all the training. You do that to go perform at a higher level on the field. So we got to see that transition from our players. So, but it is. Hopefully we're motivated. I know there's a lot to be motivated for. We just won another national championship with track and field. And so, we want to make sure we're carrying our end and we're living up to the Gator standard on the football field. We got basketball this weekend, and so it's an exciting time, a lot of fun things happening. But we'll be out there getting going. We don't. The first 2 days, don't get all excited. I'm not going to be able to answer all the questions after the first 2 days. We don't even put pads on for the first 2 days. So until somebody even runs into somebody else or hits, there'll still be some question marks for me. But excited to see what our guys can do.
How much of a challenge is it kind of installing the practice mentality that you want in the first couple days?
Well, it's always a challenge because, it's not just learning the offense or defense and special teams, but learning what we expect of the speed of practice, how practice is going to go, how running from drill to drill, and just how things work is different. So that'll be a challenge for the guys. But one thing I'll try as best I can to be patient and just and make sure that they understand it. We teach it the right way, and that that if they're not living up to our expectations of practice right away, it's not maybe because of effort or desire or their any resistance. It's more they just don't understand the tempo that we expect practice to go at.
Obviously, the QBs will be in the spotlight all spring. What is your hope by the end? Do you want to have a clear depth chart coming out of spring, or what are you looking to achieve?
I don't worry about that. In spring, a lot of the things with spring to me is learn how to play hard. That's going to be a huge one, of learning, make sure guys understand what effort is. You'd be shocked sometimes how guys think they're going hard, and then you go watch the film and ask them, is that as fast as you can go? And, no. I'm like, did you think you were going hard? Yes. Okay, how do we close that gap when you think you're going hard when you're actually not going as hard as you can go? So the effort's one. A lot of worried about fundamentals and just really understanding the base concepts of offense and defense. We have 25 practices now, more in the summer before we have to go play a game. And depth chart, I don't know it sets depth chart to me as much as it sets the opportunity to earn playing time. Not just a quarterback at one, but at every position. If we have more than one guy earns playing time at quarterback, we might play more than one. It's guys earning the right to get on the field and play for us.
And then how much will you work with that group specifically this first spring?
A lot. That's my position, I guess, of comfort. I'll be everywhere around the field, but I'll spend a lot of time with the quarterbacks as well. Keep going.
How much of the offense do you hope to have installed by the end of this spring?
We've talked about it. We have our installation plan in place. And it's probably pretty aggressive offensively. And, sometimes I'll cut back as we go. But we're going to have a lot of our concepts in spring, and what I mean by that is offensively, we'll have the concepts. Now, there might be 10 different ways for us to run a certain play. Different, whether formationally, motion in this way, shifting. And we might only put one in so that they understand the concept. What we'll do is kind of mix and match and take different pieces, So we're going to run this play out of this formation of motion. Well, that covered the play, concept, the formation, and that motion. So even though there's 5 different things we can run on that formation of motion, we're only going to run the one and mix and match the concepts that way, so it's not too many calls, so they can get comfortable somewhat with the calls that are in. But then they'll know the motion, they know the formation, they know the shifts and adjustments, and they know the play concepts and protection and run concepts.
Dan Mullen's hosting my show right now. That's who's hosting the show. Hey, Dan. Two-part question. How much have you and the staff evaluated the kids, who are here right now on tape, and any position changes thought about, or will that happen after your practice?
Yeah, you know what? We've evaluated a little bit of what they've done. I watched a couple of the games. I didn't do write-ups on every player. I just kind of watched some things in general to see if anything was a glaring issue in one part of the game or not. And so we've gotten to see a little bit, but I don't want to prejudge people, before, because a lot of times you're watching, you don't know what they were asked to do, and so. But just to get an evaluation and a feel for some of the guys and what we feel they're comfortable with doing, and then position changes. I don't think so. I don't know where everybody was, so I have a good idea where they're gonna be. So I guess there could be some position changes without me knowing we actually changed their position. You're going to play at this position, as we've told them where they're all going to go play. So that might involve some changing from where they were in the past.
Mark? Yeah, Dan, you've toured the state, obviously, doing a lot of talking. Is it nice? Well, first off, what kind of feedback have you gotten from Gator fans? Are they starved for maybe to get back to where you want them to be?
Yeah, I don't know. Started, I think just the excitement and the energy. I know that we have such a passionate fan base, and that love football and love winning, and you see it through all our other sports and the success that we have as an athletic department and as a university. That I think they want to make sure that we live up to those other sports. So it's not like, hey, everybody in the Gator Nation is just counting on football. That's what we have, and let's hope football wins because that's what we have. We do pretty well in every sport. So, but I know the passion that they have for football and the love for football. So that it's important for everybody to get back, and you just see excitement. That's the biggest one to me, is excitement around the upcoming season and the program.
And what kind of knowns? Everything seems unknown. What are the known factors that you believe going into this thing?
I know they're going to play hard because they're not going to have an option. You know what I mean? I know that they're going to learn to go hard. I know that we're going to be physical. And you know what? And I feel comfortable with that with the team by seeing the lack of resistance in what we've asked them to do. I think we've started to see some great gains in the weight room. Great gains in conditioning and fitness. A lot of guys are transforming their bodies already. So I think they see some positive feedback physically in themselves. And, just the way that they've bought into that. If you're going to go through our off-season conditioning program, me asking you to go hard on the field really is not that complicated. And so those are kind of the knowns. Everything else I want to see. I try not to judge too much. I don't want to get too. I'll try even through spring. I don't want to get too excited. I don't want to get too worried. You know what? Because it's probably never as good or never as bad as it seems. It's, you'll get me coming off the practice field one day, and I'll be like, that's just terrible. It was the worst. And you go watch the film, and it really wasn't that bad. There were some really good things I saw, and then there's other days I'm going to come off like really encouraged, and I'm like, I'm all excited. Then I turn on the film, and I'm like, what did I miss? I missed all of this. This is awful. It's usually somewhere in the middle right there, and but I'm optimistic. I'm excited to see the guys because I see not just the hunger from our fan base, but I think the hunger for the guys. These guys came to Florida to play for championships, and that's why they came to school here and compete on one of the premier teams in America. And so I think they're excited to do that.
The first two practices being open, what was the thought process behind that? Is that something you did at Mississippi State as well?
Yeah, we'll do it different times. You know, I want our fans to be excited. So I look at the calendar. I know everybody's excited to start things off. You know, and the first two practices for them to come see everybody and get to see the coaches, see the players, and there's excitement about it starting. So to have some of the fans come out in the Gator Nation and people to come out and see it. So we'll do some of that. Help you all out. So, you know, because there'll be a lot of excitement around the first two. You know, once you get into kind of that midweek grinding practices, then, you know, not that I don't want people there, but it's, you know, it'll lack the excitement. So we want to try to keep the excitement for our fans about it, and them to get to come out and see the players and see the coaches and see what'll look different, you know. I mean, I guess, and I hope they're not expecting too much, because it'll be like, you know, I mean, it'll be guys learning how to break the huddle, you know, and there'll be a lot of fundamentals and some basic things going on early on, but they get a chance to see it and get excited.
We're going to get a chance to talk to, I guess, the guys that were voted to the Leadership Council.
Yeah.
You've really harped on the quarterback being a guy that has to be a leader. What does it say about Felipe Franks that his teammates voted him to that council?
Well, I think it says, I mean, it shows that they have belief in him and as a leader. You know, one of the things that you do, and we do a lot of different things to get the Leadership Council vote. You know, we'll do it by class, by position, by, you know, big skill and line, by, you know, by that type of deal, and position specific. But I think, you know, for him, it's something that it should show, one, that he's on the right path of his actions and how he carries himself and what he does, because the team believes, you know, believed enough to vote him as a leader because he was doing things the right way. You know, and hopefully that is a big push for him football-wise, getting out there, that he knows that you have the support of your teammates.
Buddy in the back to the right. Hi, Dan. Buddy Martin. One of the local media guys made a comment about you and your arrival here, and you're chomping off the airplane, and it seems as though you made a number of right steps so far without coaching a game, enjoying a bit of a honeymoon period. And he said, it's almost like Dan Mullen has been watching us from afar. I got thinking about that. I know you had your own team to coach, but what did you watch in the last couple of years of the Florida Gators, and since you have so much history here?
Try to word this the right way so I can stay on the right path of everybody, right? You know what? I didn't get to watch much specifics. You know, we didn't. You know, I hadn't played my first 2 years as a head coach. I played against Florida. So, you know, and Florida's going to Mississippi State this year, so that would kind of come back on the cycle after 7 years. So never had to prepare for them. You would see them a little bit on crossover games here and there at different times, depending on who we were playing, but not get to see a whole lot. But you'd see the highlights and you check the scores. You know, one thing, but I haven't been here. I would have a pretty good guess of what the fan base and expectations and where people thought things were. Because I remember just as an offensive coordinator, if we didn't score 30 points, you know, I mean, it was by halftime, that run down to the locker room, you know, I mean, there were people, you know, telling me I was number one, right, with different fingers and you know, but the standard and expectation with the program, the fan base is so hard. So you could imagine we had a bunch of coaches that have been here before, and you'd sit and laugh and say, "Boy, there's going to be some unfriendly, unhappy people with certain results through the years because the standards and expectations are so high within the program."
You have a piece of your DNA here, which seems to be something that Gator fans want. They want a connection to the past when they were winning. What is your one or two or three memories, other than watching Tebow, you know, the scrum and, you know, that's Doak Campbell? What are the one or two things you take away that you took with you, and now you look back on your time here?
You know what? We just enjoyed it. I mean, it was such a different stage of life for me. You know, I mean, I guess I was engaged. I wasn't even married when I moved to Gainesville, and then we got married my first summer here. You know, our house, we went and looked. We were going to try to buy our old house was on the market, and it like sold the day before we were able to. We did see it, and then somebody bought it that day. Like, you know, so you just have all the memories of being here, going around town. You know, just so many great things happen. I mean, winning in football, I think obviously winning games helped, but we had, you know, we had 2 national championship seasons and then 2 seasons that were, you know, so-so. But I don't know, I just enjoyed living here. You know, I really did. I just enjoyed being part of the Gator family and being a Florida Gator. I enjoyed all of it and had a fun time. There were great kids that we were able to coach that were here. The success that we had was a lot of fun. But, I mean, I remember watching the basketball team win while we were here, just enjoying every part of being in the Gator family. And that was a lot of fun. And that's why I just enjoy it. That's why I guess when people look and say, boy, you genuinely look happy to be here and be back. I am, you know. I mean, I'm really happy to be here, be the coach, be a part of the family, be back at the University of Florida. I love being here. You know, doesn't mean I'm always going to be happy every day, and I'm not always going to have a smile on my face, because I'm sure there'll be times that, you know, that things aren't always going to go our way on the field. You know, but you know, I'm still going to love being here and being part of the Gator family as I did when I was here before. You know, there were times before that there were ups and downs. We were here before. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy the downs. You love the ups, but just being part of the community and being part of the university is something I really enjoy. This time, well, we're renting right now. We're going to build a house. It'll be bigger, but when I left before, it was me and Megan and my dog, and you know, it was just a puppy then. So now we got 2 kids, and it's we got used to some bigger spaces, and so we need to spread out a little bit more. So it'll be bigger than the last one.
Coach, wondering, any of the players stood out in workouts so far, and also, and in particular, the freshmen, the new guys coming in?
I don't know if there's anybody that really jumps out at me individually. I mean, a lot of guys, you'll see certain days guys perform. You know, overall, like I said, I've been pleased. You know, you know, the negatives jump out at me more than the positives to go correct. You know, I see everybody doing things the way I want them. I don't say a whole lot to those guys. I got to get better at that. You know, my wife always, people tell me that all the time. You know, like hey, Steve's doing a great job. You're doing a great job, Steve. Right? Taking care of me. Like in my personality assessment tells me when I meet with those people is like, I'm the personality. Why would I ever say that? Of course he's going to do. Why wouldn't he do a good job? Like, I mean, that's your job. Just do your job to the best of your ability. I'm not touchy-feely, so I try to, like, encourage those guys, but I notice the things I don't like and try to get them corrected, and there really hasn't been resistance. The young freshmen coming in, no, I think all of them, you know, the benefit they had is I was able to recruit them. You know, so when they signed, they knew what they were getting into. And so they knew coming in that I would have high standards, high expectations. They knew not just, you know, on the field, but off the field, in the classroom and everything. And they knew they would be held to that standard. You know, and they've responded very, very nicely, I think all of them. And, you know, we have our first quarter champions. We just went through, and we're going to have our champions banquet on Thursday. You know, normally I don't let first semester players, you know, no matter what, because you just got here, you can't be a champion. But I let them be eligible for it. I don't know if any of them made it. Maybe one did. I mean, I'm not sure. I got to go check. In our final, we do our final meeting anyway for our final tally for the coaches tomorrow of who's in. But I let them be eligible for it because everybody was new. It wasn't like they're new to the program. Everybody was new to the program in my mind. starting in January when we came back. So, but they've worked hard. I've seen them do a lot of good things, all of them.
Will any players miss due to injury this spring or be limited in any way? Or?
Yeah, I mean, Malik Davis won't be doing much. Who else are you missing? Kyrie Campbell's going to be out for a little bit of spring. And Brett Hagee, he's still out a little bit. I'm trying to think who was in the pit yesterday doing. Kavanis won't be back in spring. He's not recovered yet. He's just starting to work out. So he's probably even behind all those other guys in just getting into working out. But there's actually a positive hope that he might be able to make it back. That's it. There we go.
Motivation is always a big part of it with guys this age, and obviously football. Is there anything you're doing that you can share with us that's helping motivate these guys? I remember, and I think it was in 05 when you guys stripped them of all their Gator gear. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that, and they took away, right? Didn't we move we took the Gator head out? I remember that. Yeah, we haven't gotten to that stage. To me, they haven't upset me enough to do anything that drastic yet. No, we do. I mean, we're constantly motivating. You know what I mean? We have within our leadership committee, we have off-season competition teams. And every couple weeks we see who in that last 2 to 3 week period who is first place team all the way to the last place team. There's 8 teams. And each one of the leadership committee members is the captain of the team. They got to draft their team. And, first place teams go out for dinner in the restaurant in town. Last place teams, I think this morning they went and did some community service at one of the local elementary schools early in the morning. Sometimes it'll be a workout. Sometimes it'll be community service and other things. So they get motivated to do that. I just met with all our Nike and Jordan representatives for the future, and you'd be shocked how those, like I said, hey, right now we're going to go on a 10-mile run. I'll be like, oh, no, I can't run 10 miles, okay? Well, the first 20 guys to finish get a new pair of Jordans. I mean, you're going to see dudes sprinting around campus, you know what I mean? Like, flashes going by. So, I mean, we every different way, we try to do to motivate guys. You would love to say everyone has such unbelievable personal drive and motivation to have to be the best they can be every day. I think I have great drive, and I still have to motivate myself at times, to get going. I mean, that's just human nature. And so we try, every different way possible to do different things to motivate guys to just keep pushing and going hard and achieve their goals.
Have you reminded them that where Florida's at, I think I saw something where you said Mississippi State's got more wins, not to take anything away from Mississippi State, but Mississippi State has more wins this decade than Florida. Have you told them that?
No, because these guys, they didn't do all of that. I mean, they weren't responsible for all of it, So, to me, it's more of explaining what the Gator standard is to them and what it means to be a part of this football family and what the expectations are when you get out there on the field. And, and to me, it starts with your effort and how you carry yourself as a player. I'd love us in the next 4 years to go 60-0, with 4 national titles. The 60-0 is probably the most unrealistic thing. I don't know anybody's going to go 60. Everybody views it that way. Okay, so 60-0 is not the Gator standard. The Gator standard is: did we push ourselves to be the absolute best that we can be, and take ourselves to become the absolute best that we can be? And if we do that, okay, then you're going to have the opportunity to go win the championships that we expect as part of this program.
Coach, how much do you remember back on Frankie Hammond's recruitment, and do you remember Josh when he was a little one, getting to coach him now?
I do remember Josh being little. I know Billy recruited Frankie, and I think I was only here for Frankie's freshman year. I think it was just his freshman year. So I remember him coming in. I mean, young, skinny. kid, that's trying to figure it all out. And I do remember, what is funny is you come back and you see Josh like years later from being a little kid, makes me feel old. When you get here and say, okay, hey, I was like, this big when I came on my visit before. I'm still the same, and they've grown. So, but you know what? I know this. You're excited to have him because I knew through the recruiting the character that Frankie had and the family and the type of parents and upbringing that he had, and you look at Josh as really the same character type of person. The work ethic, the drive, takes care of his business, does things the right way. And that's why he's a leadership committee guy, because I think everyone sees the respect that he has of his teammates and what the program's all about.
And then with spring practice starting, is an opportunity for recruits to come and see you guys. You guys have had official visits. You've had junior days. When guys get a chance to come and watch you and your coaches work with the players, how big is that?
Well, I think it's huge. I tell recruits this all the time. I said, you want to come and you take a visit, kind of find out about the school, but you want to come and you want to come watch a practice and see how we coach. See, do you fit into that style? Because we're going to be there. I'm not going to really change who I am. A little bit. I'm always trying to improve myself and better myself. But, I am who I am. And all our coaches, you are who you are, to a point, even though you're always trying to get better, so that you fit that. I always encourage you to come to camp, let us coach you, right? And so that, you can watch us coach and then hands-on, and we're coaching you. Do you like how we coach, the style we use? Do you like how we coach you? Do you fit into that? And then come to a game day atmosphere and see what game day in the swamp's all about, and then you come on an official visit and get to hang around and be a part of the program, like be treated as a football player for 48 hours and see what that's all about. So, I always encourage guys to do that, and that's a huge part of them coming up here to spring and seeing what it's like to see what we're like out there on the field as coaches, and make sure their personality fits our style of coaching.
In addition to CeCe, have you decided if any other DNs are going to work at outside linebacker too, cross-train there?
I don't know. Who are the other DNs? So that are going to be that. Yeah, Polite could. Zuniga could. Tonius, no. Jeremiah Moon at outside backer. Who am I missing? Trying to think when the outside backers get together, who's in that group. That's probably it for right now. You'll have Andrew Chatfield in that group when he gets here.
What excites you about Amari Burney and his versatility?
Well, you know what? He can do an awful lot. You watch him as a high school player, and he did everything, played everywhere on the field. I think he's played safety. He's going to start out at safety, but you physically look at him as a younger guy that has potential to grow into being an outside backer, or an inside linebacker, potentially a nickel star type of player for us. So there's a lot of potential and flexibility that he has, especially. The athleticism allows him to do that, and obviously his development, physical development, his size, and where he gets to will kind of determine where he ends up being. But I think his athleticism gives him the flexibility to play 3 to 4 different positions on the defense.
What side of the ball do you envision Justin Watkins starting off on?
You know what? Justin and I talked the other day. I think he might start a corner. That's changed here and there a couple different times. One of the things I told him is I said, hey, we come to meetings. I say, you get here first day, split up into positional meetings. Where are you going to go? He's like, wherever you want me to go, coach. I said, well, then I guess when the meeting splits, you're going to be standing there looking at me because I'm not going to tell you where to go. I want to see where you feel most comfortable. So a lot of times when you look at a guy that's a phenomenal athlete that has all the position flexibility he has, I kind of say, where do you feel most comfortable? Having us not seen you or coached you, where do you feel most comfortable starting at? And then what we'll do is see where what your ability, your talent level is, where that best fits the system. Because for me to sit there and say, okay, I think he's going to be a great at this position, I've done that before, and then I don't look real smart at times. Where this guy, we recruit a guy that is, hey, we're going to recruit him to be a corner, and they're just absolutely terrible. You know, and then, you know, so we end up moving him to slot receiver, and he's a great player. You know, a recruiter got to be a running back. That's a big-time free safety. You know, I've had players before that think they're a big-time running back, and they're not, but they're a big-time outside linebacker, nickel. So I think a lot of that, once they get on the field, it makes it easier because you want to put them in the most position to be most successful. But the last conversation I had with him the other day, he said he wanted to start a corner, but that's changed a couple times, and it's still only March, and he doesn't. Yeah, it's, you know, it depends. You know, depends what he had for breakfast this morning. He might tell me something different.
Anyone need Matt? Anyone after Matt? Everyone else?
All right. You mentioned Kevon Davis on the injury. So is he, just to clarify, has he been reinstated from the suspension?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, so he's back. He's back with us. He's been very, very, very limited. He's just started getting around even the team activities just because there's a limit of what he can do. So he's back at, you know, we had the team run yesterday. He can't run with the team, but he was back at the workout.
Chauncey Gardner, is he going to stay at safety, or could he be a corner for you?
He's going to be more safety and possibly nickel, you know, within the scheme that we play. So that's where we're going to kind of start him at.